Shalom, this is Brother Yawam, coming back at it with another video. Hopefully it's edifying. First and foremost, I want to say, Call Halayim La, Yahweh Ba'ashim, Yahweh Shah Ba'ashim Kakadash. Alright, so I'm coming out of Colossians 3 and 12. And it reads, Put on therefore as the elect of Yahweh, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering. So I'm going to start at where it says mercies. And I'm going to grab Matthew 5 and 7. It says, Blessed are the merciful, for they will be shown mercy. Oh, let me get it in the KJV. It says, Blessed are the merciful, for they shall obtain mercy. So it's also written that that you should show others mercy so that you can receive mercy. All right. I'm going to go back. So then it says kindness and humbleness of mind. So in this thing, you don't want to be too prideful, because when you're too proud, then that's a lack of humility, and he can take that the spirit away from you, because we're just earthly vessels. So I wanted to grab 2 Corinthians 4 and 7. So it says, But we have this treasure in earthen vessels. And what are those vessels? The vessels are these bodies. So then it says, that the excellency of the power may be of Yahweh and not of us. So I'm going to read it again. It says, But we have this treasure. What is the treasure? The treasure is the truth. But we have this treasure in earthen vessels, that the excellency of the power may be of Yahweh and not of us. So with like, it says a vessel. So like, with a bottle, say a water bottle, that the water is a representation of the spirit. You can take that same water and put it into another vessel. So like you got to remain humble in this thing, because that knowledge gained by the Holy Spirit can be taken away at any point. All right, so right here, again, we gotta stay humble and not get too, and we shouldn't be prideful at all. So it says, For if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So if you always have constantly in your mind that you're nothing, you're just another vessel, it'll be better for you to walk in that manner. And I also wanted to grab it was 2 Corinthians 10 and 12, I think. All right, so this says, I'm going to start from the top. This is 2 Corinthians chapter 10, verse 1. Now I, Paul, myself beseech you by the meekness and gentleness of Hamashiach Yahweh Shah, who in presence and base among you, but being absent and bold toward you. But I beseech you that I may not be bold when I am present with that confidence wherewith I think to be bold against some which think of us as we walked according to the flesh. For though we walk in the flesh, we do not war after the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, but mighty through Yahweh to pulling down the strongholds. So it says the weapons of our warfare are not carnal, because we not battling against carnalities. We're not taking up arms and trying to fight our oppressors and our enemies. We were blessed. You go back to Genesis, Jacob was blessed with spiritual power. Our warfare is spiritual. So then it says, casting down imaginations and every high thing that exalteth itself against the knowledge of Yahweh, and bringing into captivity every thought to obedience of Yahweh Shah, and having in readiness to revenge all disobedience when your obedience is fulfilled. Do ye look on things after the outward appearance? If any man trust to himself that he is Yahweh Shah's, let him of himself think this again, that as he is Yahweh Shah's, even so are we Yahweh Shah's. For though I should boast somewhat more of our authority, which the Lord hath given us for edification and not for your own destruction, I should not be ashamed, that I may not seem as if I would terrify you by letters. For his letters say they are weighty and powerful, for his bodily presence is weak and his speech is contemptible. Let such and one thing, Salakia, let such and one think this, that such as we are in word by letters when we are absent, such will we be also indeed when we are present. For we dare not make ourselves of the number, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves, but they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. So I'm gonna go through that again. It says, for we dare not make ourselves of the number. So what number is it referring to? It's referring to that 144K and the rest of the 1/3. So in doing that, if you say yeah, we're part of that number, that's prideful. That would be prideful. Nobody knows who's a part of the elect. That's why we gotta work diligently to make your calling and election sure. So then it says, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. So those that, I'm gonna look up that word commend. It says praise formally or officially. So let me see, I'm gonna go back. It says, or compare ourselves with some that commend themselves. So those that are praised by different people, or those that praise within themselves, we shouldn't be out here comparing ourselves with them. So then it says, but they measuring themselves by themselves. So those people that do that, they're just doing it like they walking pridefully amongst themselves. And that goes back to Galatians 6:3. It talks about Galatians 6:3 saying, for if a man think himself to be something when he is nothing, he deceiveth himself. So they really deceiving themselves, man, if they out here commending themselves. So then it says, but they measuring themselves by themselves and comparing themselves among themselves are not wise. So you shouldn't be out here doing that, because you don't know who's gonna make it to the kingdom. That's not our decision. What we're supposed to do, if you go to Isaiah 58:1, we're supposed to cry loud and spare not, and show our people where they're going off at in the scriptures. All right, so let me get the definition of meekness. Of meek. It says quiet, gentle, easily imposed on, submissive. So it says patient. It's talking about in this sense, it's talking about patient and long suffering. Because being in this thing, it's gonna be some patience and some long suffering, as we see in hold on. So this is Revelation 10:10. So it says, And I took the little book out of the angel's hand, which is the Bible, and ate it up. He didn't literally eat it up, but he consumed, he understood what was in there. And then it says, and it was in my mouth sweet as honey. Because when you find out about this truth, you like, oh, like it's wild. Like you find out that everybody's being brainwashed, and then like it's real exciting. So you want to go tell everybody. So then it says, what was I? Oh, and as soon as I had eaten it, my belly was bitter. And it was bitter because you see all the like destruction that these Edomites, and you just see how the world is. So seeing that the abominations that are done on this place, like you're going to go through some long suffering, because you're going to go through some long suffering and patience, because you know how the world is actually supposed to be. All right, and we just got the definition of meek. So I'm gonna go over a couple of these verses right here. It says, this is Matthew 5:5. It says, "Blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth." All right. And who's ultimately going to be the meek? If you go back to it was Colossians 3:12. It said that put on the whole elect. Put on the whole. I'm gonna go back to it. All right, so this is Colossians. Hold up. All right, this is Colossians 3:12. It says, put on therefore as the elect of Yahweh, holy and beloved, bowels of mercies, kindness, humbleness of mind, meekness, and long suffering. So we go back to this. It says, blessed are the meek, for they shall inherit the earth. So who's going to be meek? Ultimately, it's going to be the elect, as we just read. All right, so then this is Matthew 11:29. Says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me, for I am meek and lowly in heart. And the Hebrew word for heart is man. So it says lowly in mind, and ye shall find rest unto your souls. Let me see. All right, so this is Yahweh Shah talking. It says, come unto me, all ye that labor and are heavy laden, and I will give you rest. So where are they going to get the rest? The rest is going to be in this truth. It says, take my yoke upon you and learn of me. So learn in his ways. Like he comes in the volume of the book. So consume the book, as we read in Revelation 10:10. Eat the scroll. So then it says, for I am meek and lowly in heart. I'm going to get the definition of lowly. Lowly is humble. He's very humble. And and reading that, I wanted to grab also it's John chapter 13. And it's really the whole chapter, but I wanted to go to we start at verse 6. It says, then cometh he to Simon Peter, and Peter saith unto him, Lord, dost thou wash my feet? Yahushua answered and said unto him, what I do thou knowest not now, but thou shalt know hereafter. So throughout this whole process, he's washing his disciples' feet. And I wanted to grab this because this was real humble, because I mean this is also a two-part chapter, but it was humble because the master is washing the subordinates' feet, and we should be the same way in humbleness. So if you got, say you got like a let me see if I pull that scripture up. Well, yeah, we should be the same way in humbleness. You shouldn't be prideful at all. All right. And this is some verses on humbleness. It says, with all lowliness and meekness, with long suffering, forbearing one another in love. And with the same thing with with that example, it was talking about, let me see. It says, this is John chapter 13, verse 14. It says, if then your Lord and Master have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. So yeah, that right there, like, you should never be too prideful to, like, help your brother out in his faith. We should be humble enough to, be there for each other. And that's what was meant by verse 14. It says, if then your Lord and Master have washed your feet, ye also ought to wash one another's feet. All right. All right, so it says, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord, and he shall lift you up. So yeah, we gotta put on the armor of we gotta strive to be like the elect, because then right here it says, humble yourselves in the sight of the Lord. So knowing that the elect are humble, we should strive to be humble. And I wanted to grab a verse. Oh yeah, yep. No, it wasn't this one. All right, so this is 2 Peter 3:11. It says, seeing that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness. So, it's talking about, it says, I'm gonna go back to verse 10. It says, but the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, and in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. Also, the earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. So knowing in the day of the Lord that all this stuff is going to be burned up and everything is going to basically be destroyed, we should be putting on as the elect. And to reiterate, it says humble. This is one of the things that the elect is going to do. They're going to humble themselves in the sight of the Lord. And how do we do that? We gotta constantly pray without ceasing. Pray without ceasing. Fasting, when you fast, you deprive yourself, and you humble your spirit in the sight of him. And we gotta constantly study, because you can never learn too much. All right, so then this is Proverbs 22:4. It says, by humility and fear of the Lord are riches and honor and life. So by having humility and fear, it's also another verse that says the fear of the Lord is his treasure. And part of that treasure is, at the end of this verse, is everlasting life. All right, so then it says the fear of the Lord. This is Proverbs 15:33. The fear of the Lord is the instruction of wisdom, and before honor is humility. And let me see. It's another one I wanted to grab. All right, so this is Matthew 20:16. It says, so the last shall be first, and the first shall be, hold on. So the last shall be first, and the first last. For many be called, but few are chosen. And the chosen ones are the elect. And it says the last shall be first, and the first last. So right now, the basis of men is the basis of men is in charge of the whole world. Job 9:24, which are the Edomites. And it says the last shall be first because Jakes are at the bottom of the totem pole right now. And I wanted to grab that because it says before honor is humility. So right now, for the most part, Jake is humiliated right now. And to elaborate, like you see the men of the Lord, a lot of people scoff and mock the men of the Lord when they see him out there on the highways and byways preaching and stuff. Yeah, I think that was all I wanted to grab, but I basically wanted to do this this video as a reminder to everybody out there, and like myself included, because we gotta be humble in this thing. And I went over a verse. It talked about being an earthen vessel because at any point that knowledge and understanding can be taken away from you. So with that being said, call her Layim La, Yahweh, by Hashem Yahweh Shah, by Hashem Kakadash. Double honor to the elders and apostle, great millstone, told me the truth and rule well. Shalom.